That's exactly the opposite of what I was expecting. Woo. Hi there, I'm Nicole Wilbur. I'm a writer and story nerd, and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought it would be super fun to do a sort of writing experiment. Well, not just today, it's going to be this whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday, because that's the weekend. Also, I'm not crying or anything. There's legit, I just decided to put glitter on today because why not? I love glitter. So, I've been thinking a lot lately, I guess, about different writing styles. So I know some other tubers who say that they write like 500 words in 15-20 minutes whenever they get a chance. I know some writers who really like the writing sprints that are like 20 minutes long, and they get really productive in there with like breaks to like talk to people. And then I especially heard from, I remember Brandon Sanderson's videos where he talks about how he needs 4 hours of writing time uninterrupted to get anything done. And so I think that there's no one universal best way to write, but I thought I would try to figure out which one works better for me. I'm gonna do 2.5 hours of writing today, uninterrupted, no distractions except for this YouTube video that I'm gonna film as I go, and really focus in. And then tomorrow I'm going to do 15, 30, 45, 60. I'm going to do 8 chunks of 15 minutes spread throughout the day, and I'm going to see in which one I write more words and like which 15-minute word sessions are more productive. So I'll divide however many words I write in the long chunk by 15 to kind of get an idea. And I have a suspicion of which one is going to work better for me, but I'm excited to see the results. So I have my tea over there. I'm going to go to probably my basement where I will not be disturbed and write for 2-ish hours, and I'm super excited about it. So I will see you soon and let you know how it's going. So I am in my basement. You can see all the boxes that I'm hiding down here because I wanted uninterrupted time. So I think I've been writing for about an hour. I wrote 929 new words, and I found something that makes me really happy. Even though it says I have 58,000 words in this project, I have these scene card things in there now. Like, I'm not deleting them after I do the scene, so it's not quite as many words as I think it is because the scene cards are there, and honestly, thank God for that. It's like a small reduction, but it might add up. What I had to do, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but the scene that I wanted, that I am gonna write today, I had so much information and stuff in it, and I also felt like the introduction to the characters that are introduced in this was happening too late. So I had to go back and I wrote another scene at the very beginning of Act 2 where these characters are actually introduced. And I just wrote that. I didn't write it with like full description and everything. I did a lot more sort of dialogue, and so it's not like fully written out. That's why it's only 929 words. However, I think that that is good enough because it really isn't in the middle of the book. So I think that for me to add anything else and like do the transition, I should really like read through it up to that point. So I will save that for when I'm working on the third draft. It's fine. It's good. It's fine. So now I have to work on like this. So it was 1 dot on my outline, but now I decided to break it up into the 2 scenes. So now I have to work on the other scene that comes later. And so I'm just about to do the scene card for that, and then I will write that scene. So 929 words in about an hour, maybe a little bit less than an hour. I don't really know, which is about normal for me. I would love to be around 1,400 words an hour. I just haven't hit that stride part yet, so we'll see. Honestly. Okay, so it is 11:15 and I am just about finished writing, I think, for the day. So my total was 2,335 words for just under 2.5 hours. So my like just over 1,000 words an hour is something that is happening. That is so exciting. The writing is going well-ish. I'm I would say more than 3/4 of the way through the scene. So the second scene that I wrote today, not quite there yet, but getting there. So it's 1,400 words. It'll probably be another like 1,800, but I have to run. I have things to do, so I can't finish it off, but I'll probably finish it off during one of my first 15-minute sessions tomorrow. All the stats will be coming right at the end of the video, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. This is a part in the novel, and I think I'm gonna make a video about this whole thing, but it's where I have a mentor who's really trying to challenge the thinking of the girls, and I'm not confident in this element necessarily that I'm adding to the story, but I decided I had to add it in order to feel good about writing it. So basically there's a lot in this story about land, because one of the biggest issues of the Upper Canada Rebellion was the land. And so I've just had a mentor kind of come in and be like, but you know, this land isn't yours, right? Like, it belonged to the Indigenous people. And so I hope I didn't do it in too heavy-handed way. I can imagine I'm going to need lots of sensitivity reader feedback on this and just beta reader feedback in general for how to get what I'm trying to say right. Trying to incorporate, let's say, a wider representation of people who actually were in Upper Canada beyond just the family compact who are my main characters. And there's a lot of people to represent. There's not just the family compact, there's the non-family compact, like the farmers. There's the Irish there's a big prejudice against the Irish people, and specifically Irish Catholics. There's the Black Canadians who were in Canada and doing great things at this time, and who do play a fairly large role in this story. Although usually when you read the books, it's only mentioned in 1 or 2 lines. And then of course there are the Indigenous people of Canada who were there all along. The thing is, that's a lot to do. So I'm trying to do it in a way where it doesn't make the story too muddled, that's respectful and done well, and is not sidelined to the story. It's not just like oh hey, we're gonna talk about diversity for this chapter, but it will actually come into it. It's gonna take some editing and stuff to get that right, but this scene that I was writing, these 2 scenes that I was writing, because of who the mentor is, it was, and what their perspective is on things, it was just a lot of sort of thinking through how I want to say things. So I think that's why it took a little bit longer. Anyways, it's now 11:20, so I'm gonna go get some breakfast, and I will talk to you tomorrow for my 15 minutes of sprints. It is 7:08 a.m. and I am finally ready to do the 15-minute sprint part of this experiment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 15 minutes on this, and then 15 minutes planning, and then filming a YouTube video. I have my first meeting at 9 a.m. so let's go. Woohoo! Alright, so it is a little later and this experiment is over. So what I did was I took the number of words that I wrote in total in my 2 hours and a bit, which was 2,335 words, and I figured out my average of how many words I wrote each 15 minutes, and then I looked at the 5 sessions of 15 minutes that I did on those other 2 days and figured out how many words I wrote a minute. So in the 2 hour and a bit long session, I wrote 259 words per 15 minutes on average, whereas in the short writing session version, I wrote 276.4 words per 15 minutes. So first of all, is that good? I feel like maybe I could write more than that in 15 minutes. Second of all, I wrote more words in the shorter session. I was so sure I was going to be writing like 500 words a minute when I was like laser focused for 2.5 hours. And I didn't. I honestly don't think that the difference between the two is like big enough potentially to mean that one is better than the other. I think this is kind of like inconclusive results. I don't know if it's statistically significant, the increase that I had, you know what I mean? What was interesting though was even though I did the 15-minute sessions over 2 different days and I didn't do any other writing on those days. So I did 3 on the first day and then 2 on the second day. I wrote more towards the end of the session. So like session 1, this was the first one, I wrote 219. Session 2 was 281. Session 3 was 381. And then on the second day, session 4 was 201, and session 5 was 300. So I definitely, there is something to the fact that like I get up momentum as I write, like I get into the swing of things, because I was actually increasing my word count by like 100 words per 15 minutes by the time I was like into it. But weirdly, that didn't end up showing up in the results for the long period of time, and they were both done. I did all my writing in the morning, so the variables were pretty stable. So that's interesting. So I already knew this about myself, that like the longer I work on something, the more into it I get and the easier it is to write. So I just thought that I would write a lot more words in this sort of dedicated time with no interruptions, but apparently not. Like I wonder, maybe I did just have a really slow start to that, you know what I mean? It's possible. It's possible I just had a really slow start, and then, because I remember it going well, so well, anyways, that is the end of this writing experiment. What do you write better in shorter chunks or in longer chunks, or how do you what's your writing routine like? I think I'm gonna stick with my same writing routine because that's what's working for me, but this has been really, really interesting. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much.